The woods loomed, dark and menacing. "Stay on the path," old man Hemlock had warned, his voice raspy, eyes wide with fear. "Never stray from the path." I shivered, pulling my jacket tighter. The air grew colder as I entered the woods, the sunlight swallowed by the thick canopy above. My flashlight flickered, casting dancing shadows on the gnarled trees. Each tree stood twisted and ancient, their bark slick with moss. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. A twig snapped under my foot, the sound sharp and loud in the unsettling silence. I was searching for my friend, Billy, who had vanished into these woods a week ago. He was adventurous, always pushing boundaries, but he wasn't foolish. Something had happened to him. I could feel it. The thought sent a shiver down my spine, and I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. Billy and I had been friends since childhood, inseparable in our explorations of the woods bordering our small town. We knew every trail, every bend in the creek, every ancient oak, or so we thought. This part of the woods, though, was unfamiliar, almost alien. Billy had been drawn to it, captivated by local legends of strange occurrences and whispered tales of vanished souls. He'd been excited, his eyes gleaming with that familiar, adventurous glint. "Just a quick look," he'd said, grinning, before disappearing into the dense undergrowth. That was the last time I saw him. He didn't return by nightfall, and the search parties found no trace of him. Everyone else had given up hope. But I couldn't. I had to find him. I had to know what happened. The silence in the woods was unnerving. It wasn't a peaceful silence, but a heavy, oppressive one, as if the forest itself were holding its breath. The only sound was the pounding of my own heart, loud in my ears. Then I heard it. A whisper, faint and indistinct, carried on the wind. I stopped, holding my breath, straining to hear. Was it my imagination, or had I really heard something? The hair on the back of my neck prickled with goosebumps. I pushed on, telling myself it was just the wind rustling the leaves. But the whispers continued, growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to be coming from all around me, swirling in the air like a swarm of unseen insects. Panic began to claw at the edges of my mind. The path, barely visible in the fading light, seemed to twist and turn, leading me deeper into the heart of the woods. I pulled out my compass, but the needle spun wildly, useless. I was lost. The whispers grew stronger, their tone shifting from curious to urgent, almost menacing. They seemed to be closing in on me, the unseen voices pressing against my ears, my skull. Fear, cold and sharp, gripped me. I broke into a run, stumbling over roots and rocks, desperate to escape the whispers, the oppressive silence, the growing sense of dread that was suffocating me. But the woods seemed to stretch endlessly before me, the trees closing in like iron bars. Suddenly, the trees gave way to a small clearing. In the centre stood a massive oak, its branches twisted and gnarled, reaching out like skeletal fingers. The whispers, louder than ever, seemed to emanate from the tree itself, pulsing with an ancient, malevolent energy. At the base of the tree I saw him, Billy. He was sitting with his back against the trunk, his eyes open but vacant, staring sightlessly ahead. Relief flooded me, followed instantly by a surge of terror. He was alive, but he was different. As I approached him, I noticed something strange. His shadow wasn't right. It seemed to be absorbed by the tree's shadow, merging with it, becoming one. The whispers grew louder, swirling around me, and I understood. I understood everything. Billy wasn't alive, not really. He was a part of the woods now, his essence consumed by the ancient oak, his voice added to the chorus of whispers that echoed through the trees. And now I would join him. The whispers surrounded me, pulling me closer to the tree, their tone no longer menacing but welcoming. I felt a strange sense of peace settle over me as the shadows stretched out, enveloping me in their cold embrace. The last thing I saw before the darkness consumed me was the ancient oak, its branches swaying gently in the breeze, its whispers echoing through the silent woods, a chorus of lost souls trapped forever in its embrace.